So we're on to some aspects here of future growth opportunities, but also challenges that come along with so many people moving into cities and their expectations. And so obviously there's lots of pull factors to a city: employment, opportunities, again like education, nightlife, excitement, museums, all these different things that are going on within a city. But very often too, you'd see that especially cities in the developing world, uh, low skilled, low paying manufacturing jobs and service jobs, and not much affordable housing, for instance. So often you see the crush around the cities, like the ring slums of barradas or favelas in say South America, or the hutments that are on the streets in India, or any number of shanty towns in African and Asian countries. So when you see that, begging is sometimes a problem. Panhandlers, and even maybe crime, depending on how bad the situation is for some people. Maybe drug use goes up too. And mental health is also a problem when you're in such a big place and no one to maybe seemingly care about you. Or even the people in the cars that have a destination to go to, that may have family and decent incomes, but the commute and some things like that weighs heavy on people's minds sometimes. Maybe there's depression that goes along with it too. So yes, there are opportunities, but there are some aspects that aren't very desirous to have within cities. So for instance, whatever your city is that was you were given to make it a sustainable city, maybe you consider some of those points, of how to make it better, in terms of mental health and jobs and traffic and things of that nature. So this is just one idea. So the megalopolises of the world, certainly there are some really big cities, and Tokyo, Yokohama, those two go together. Then you have Osaka, Kobe, and Kyoto that are starting to kind of form uh, uh, an agglomeration of cities, if you will. And so uh, some of these circles that you see on this cartogram overlap other ones. So that doesn't necessarily mean Osaka here in Japan is merging with Tokyo. They're too far away. Same thing for Rio and Sao Paulo in Brazil, southern Brazil there. They're actually very far away. But if you look at those on Google Earth, you'd see how much bigger and more populous Sao Paulo is than Rio, even though both are megacities. Um, but again, you have look at India's growing cities here. So Delhi, the capital, and then you got Calcutta in the east. You've got Mumbai along the west coast, and then Bangalore, which has actually changed its name to Bengaluru now. But those are dominant cities within there. The Karachi and Lahore are part of Pakistan, and Dhaka is the capital for Bangladesh. So we've already kind of looked at Chinese cities, but then you even have Manila in the Philippines, Jakarta, uh, Istanbul, which is that the Golden Horn there that bridges the divide between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. You've got the Sea of Marmara with the Dardanelles and the Bosphorus on either side of it. So very pivotal city that bridges from Southwest Asia to the European mainland, because actually Turkey's on the other side of that as well. So it is a European state. But anyway, these large cities are going to just keep getting larger. I don't see them getting depopulated at all. And so we start to see those developing world cities come online. So if you look at urban primacy here, this idea of a primate city, uh, it never really fits, but it comes close. That is, that the largest or most populous city is one that should be twice as large as the next largest city. And so this is actually more than true looking at, for Indonesia, the blue line on the chart, that Jakarta, their capital primate city, pardon me, that their capital primate city is well more than twice the size of Surabaya, and then Bandung and Medan as you go to Palembang, all the way down the line. And so, but no way is New York twice the size of L.A. Chicago was the second city for a long time, but it's not anymore. In fact, these data are a little off. Houston's the fourth largest city in the U.S., but these dynamics are changing through time too, and those legacy cities are starting to pop up and really push for preeminence. But again, the idea here is that with the rank size rule, each descending order of cities should be twice as large or so forth as the next city down. Okay, so consider that. Now, looking at these, I just mentioned it, legacy cities, and then I meant to say the aspirational cities. So you got your legacy cities of, oh, I see a misspelling there, Now York. Sorry about that. San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. These are these cities in America where they're obviously well established and still growing and dynamic, but they're not growing at the rate, for instance, that your aspirational cities are. And the crush of people that have come into San Antonio and Houston and in Texas. My in-laws moved in there, so I can tell you the northern part of that city is very different from the southern part. Southern part's old money. The nouveau riche have moved into the north, and it is phenomenal how big that place is, guys. Sprawling is an understatement. But look at Las Vegas. They've got a football team now. They got the Raiders that move there. This is the Sin City and the nightlife and all. But then you get even Raleigh in North Carolina with the Research Triangle Park. It's part of that part of the three big cities there that have kind of a technopole and IT aspect to it. But when you look at these places, how are they being changed by the amount of people coming in, the type of people coming in, these ideas of hipsters, the people that, the guys with the beards and the flannel, the glasses and the rolled up pants who drink PBR. It's all anachronistic, but somehow they've pulled it off. Again, the beards with the wax mustache and stuff. But hipsters do what hipsters do, and they go to coffee bars. They go to, regular bars as well to drink their PBR. But imagine then what it does to this one at the bottom is there. It says it's in Harlem, and so these. You tend to think of Harlem as dominated by African Americans, and it still is, but that doesn't mean that outsiders, whites, and yuppies and whatnot can't move in there and change the complexity and the complexion of the neighborhood itself. So as more of these people come in, buy up cheap property, gut old apartment buildings or factories and turn them into apartment flats and start living in them. And when that money starts pouring in, then that changes rent. It changes the dynamic of the cities, and it really takes away some of that character that those people moving into it wanted to preserve. And so, just by being there, they're actually changing it. Okay, in America, I won't belabor this because you could pause this and read all of these things. I just took these off of a website I found that was focusing on cities in Australia, as you can see by the bottom picture there with the kangaroos that are losing their habitat to these sprawling cities. So America's sprawling cities, you can see the cookie cutter neighborhoods with cul-de-sacs and all this stuff, but there is a problem with the habitat loss and the change. I live in downtown Gallatin, and there haven't been many animals I haven't seen and run through my backyard. And I'm not kidding you. I saw a fox just today run across my backyard, a little red fox. I've seen deer, I've seen turkey, I've seen birds of prey, peregrine falcons here hunting. I'm not kidding you. I see all this kind of stuff. But obviously, as these bigger areas grow, they're pushing into more and more wild areas, and thus you're gonna run into these types of situations as the cities expand. And again, pause it if you would like to read these. But certainly these the traffic congestion is mentally taxing. We looked at it in an earlier chapter where, the drive times for major cities. And then if you're traveling in rush hour, and if there's a wreck in front of you, and if it's a holiday, oh gosh, I don't like to drive at all. And when I do, I purposely try to avoid when I'll see gridlock like this because I just can't deal with it. But look at the the amount of oil that's gone in here for the pavement, for the oil in the cars, for the gas in the cars, for the lights that run during the night, so you can see all of these things, man. It's something else to think about pollution and taxes and everything else that goes along with these sprawling automobile cities. Okay, so one of the downsides here is certainly that automobiles are introducing, air pollution, affecting the health, again, mental aspect of the health of the people, that you have the costs of the car itself, where to park it when you're not driving it, with the gas and oil and everything else to keep it up, the insurance on it. So a lot of people are actually that are moving to cities are adopting no car policies. And I realize I jumped the gun here. Sorry, this was in your chapter, but I thought we'd talked about it earlier about these average daily commute times here. So San Jose, California, Silicon Valley, and then all the other following cities here as an average daily commute. It depends on where you're coming from. Obviously, if you're from counties out, it may be hours that you're traveling to get in there. But these aspects are really difficult to contend with for some people, and some people are just foregoing automobiles now and using mass transit, Ubers, local bikes, and the like. And then moving onward to, I'm sorry, I needed to take a break just to see how far I needed to go, or I had time left. Global cities, we've already looked at this too, but look at your top tier world cities. Those top tier are three: New York, London, and Tokyo, without a doubt. These are preeminent. And then to add to those, in these what are called Class A cities, you have Hong Kong, Paris, and Singapore that form those top. Then you'd have the B level cities that might be a Moscow, a Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, and maybe in Amsterdam. And then you'd have your sea level cities that might be a San Francisco, Buenos Aires, a Vienna. So when you have these influential cities, they bring different things into the mix. Notice there's a couple in Spain alone, from Barcelona and Madrid. Nothing in Africa. One city in all of South America, and all of Latin America and the Caribbean, Buenos Aires. You only get 3 cities in the southern hemisphere, and 2 of them are in Australia. But to have these globally well-connected cities with trade, finances, and whatnot says a lot about them. Okay. And then looking at cities for the super rich, where are the super rich going to be found? You think in Africa, in South America, in South Asia? No. It's going to be in the very well-developed places. I mean, what major cities aren't represented here in the United States? When you talk about number of individuals with assets exceeding $30 million, oh man, this is the discrepancy of how rich this country is, but with the problems that we do have, the divide is growing between the haves and have-nots here. The middle class is really suffering. That you have people having to work 2 and 3 jobs in America to get by, even in this where you have super rich. And look at the growth in the Far East too. You've got Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka. Those major cities with more than 5,000, 30 millionaires, and then another 1,000 to 5,000 those neighboring cities, and Taipei and Taiwan, Hong Kong now. There's always been a haven because it's a flat tax of 15% and a very open-ended economy for them. Very clean operating economy too. So Tokyo, Hong Kong, and New York stand out as dominant places for the super rich. But it's hard to get access to that money if you're not anywhere near it. Looking at all the gray on the map where you don't see those super rich. All right, I'm going to stop right here and pick up with gated communities in the next, and I think maybe final installment. At least I hope it is. All right, see you soon. Bye.